Lawin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawin Media Network.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Beyond Health and Wellness. I am your host, Dr. Rich, and this is episode 5, where we continue the conversation from last time and dive into what really makes a difference in long term wellness. So let's enjoy this 1 hour of solid discussion and sharing. And if you tuned into our episode 4 the last time we were here last Friday, you'll remember that we explored on heavily on vibrations, frequencies, and how to stay aligned despite the distractions all over or all around us. We ended with a powerful challenge of becoming aware of what um, lifts us or what drains our energy, and what are the many things that we can do, or the small shift that we can do in alignment to that energy. So I'm going to ask you today, how did that go for you last week? How did you watch yourself slipping into old patterns, or did you notice a shift of your frequency? Today, we're going to take an answer to that. We're taking a step further for this episode 5 of our season 2 of our podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness, by asking the question, how do we turn those small shifts into lasting habits? This is your host, Dr. Rich, and this is Beyond Health and Wellness. We are live in stream.lawin.net, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. So we are going to talk about this, and it's a wonderful time to share together. And today is Valentine's Day all over the world. The world celebrates Valentine's Day, which is a day for celebrating your loved ones and celebrating and thanking them for the love that you had shared together. So I hope this is a great time for us to also share that form of energy, which I think is the best energy to have. So from Manila, Luzon, and we have Visayas and Cebu and Mindanao, Davao, Cagayan de Oro City, Iligan, even in Zamboanga City. We welcome our guests, and including our guests in Dubai, UAE, our neighboring Asian countries in Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and Indonesia, even our friends in Japan, all the way down to the United States of America, in Texas particularly, and to the East Coast and to the Coast. We welcome you all to this very refreshing and empowering discussions on Beyond Health and Wellness. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Rich. Let's talk about how small, intentional steps create lasting transformation. If you have questions or if you have things that you would like to share, we welcome you. I would like to share what you would like to hear. What would you like to share to us in this episode or in the discussions? Feel free to put that one in the chat or make some comments in the replay if you're watching that in our podcast in Apple, Google, and all platforms for podcasts that's showing there, and it's a replay as well. But we are live in stream.lawin.net, YouTube. We are live in Facebook and Twitch. I also have my personal YouTube channel that also goes live along with this broadcast today. That is the rich mindset of a Levite. So let's continue to talk about what we did last time. But this time, we're going to have our segment number one, which is the energy of daily habits. I'd like for you to take a look if you were there on episode 4 that we talk about how energy is contagious and how easily external influences, negative people, social media, stress, they can pull us out of alignment. But here's the flip side of this. Just as we can be thrown off track, we can also train ourselves to stay in high frequency through daily habits. Now, think of this like you are tuning or fine tuning an instrument. If you tune a guitar every day, it stays in harmony. But if you neglect it, it falls out of tune. So that's the same that goes with the energy. You want to fine tune the energy where you are. And if it's not fine tuned, you know you are falling out of it. And the only way you can do is get back in. It's just like meditating as well. When we talk about meditating, you meditate on something, but there are other thoughts that comes and passes through your mind, and then it carries you away. What you do is not go with that thought, but really bring your mind back. Meditation is bringing your mind back in alignment to where you want to focus and train your mind that way. So it's just like that. I shared to you that when you are tuning the instrument, it's just like that. When you are tuning your energy, it's also going to be like that because there are negative and positive energy. And so we want to stay in positive energy, but sometimes there is the passing of a negative energy, and that could carry us away. And you bring yourself back into the positive energy where you want to stay. So now, um, let's have a quick check in. How do you start your morning? Now, every one of us feels like it's easy question or it's a question that can easily be answered. And some of us could be shocked, but oh my God, what do I start? How do I start my morning? We don't know. There is what we call as the, if you're not used to thinking it that way, there is a friction that goes in our mind, and we call that a cognitive dissonance, where the old way of thinking and the new way of thinking converge and then they fight. And sometimes it can wear you out. And so, what I would like for us to do is think about that. How do you start your morning? Really think about it and focus and identify how is it that you're going to start your morning. And the other one is your first thought positive? And you know when it is positive, it gives you good feeling. We've been talking about dopamine, the feel good hormones. We've been talking about serotonin. We've been talking about oxytocin. We've been talking about endorphins. These are feel good hormones that you can increase or stimulate in yourself by thinking good thoughts. So you know how that works. But this time, what is it that you think first in the morning? Is it positive or is it negative? Or do you immediately dive into your emails, check in with your social media and scroll? Or what tiny habit like setting an intention each morning can completely shift your energy for the day? You want to focus on that little thing. One simple, tiny habit that is intentionally set each morning, it could completely shift your energy for the day. Sometimes you think that it's very difficult to think about what this tiny habit is, and it's as simple as having a deep breathing in first thing in the morning as soon as you're awake, deep breathing for 4 times. That could be a tiny habit, and do that consistently. Okay. Success is not measured about how big you have done or how big you have achieved in life. It is always measured on doing things in a certain way. So whether that certain way pushes you to where you want to go or what you want to be, it is determined by that certain thing. And I'd like for us to think about that tiny little habit that pushes you forward. For example, you want to think positive things, you want to think about the success. I have a laminated sheet, in fact, for me that I renew every year if I could laminate it so that it doesn't, the paper doesn't get torn away, because every day I look at it and I feel it and work with it, bring it with me. And sometimes it's in my bag and sometimes it's just in my car. And I put it there and read it every specific time of the day. Once in the morning at 7 o'clock, when I have an alarm at 7 o'clock, it hits and I read it. And then I imagine what I'm reading. And that's just about 3, 4 minutes max. And in the noontime, I read another part again, and I will talk about how things will work into those little the following day. I'm sorry about that interruption. But really, what it is you're just establishing a tiny habit. And it always start from there. It will not stay there, but it will start from there until some of the things will accumulate and build up on it. And for all you know, you have achieved a bigger habit that you identify that you want to achieve in your life. So that's my first advice for this episode. Think of a tiny habit that you want to do consistently at the same time. And if you do that, I can guarantee you, based on the principle, the law of attraction and the law of consistency, it will build you up. Okay, that's what everyone is doing. The great athletes, the ones that are achieving a lot of things, they started with little things. No one started with big things. Probably about 0.1% of the entire population of the world. So, but the rest of us, we are going to develop a habit that will bring us there. Okay, I hope that is very very clear for us. And I have this screen. I have this slide that I would like to share with you. And this slide will bring us back to what we've been talking about in the past, that our mind is divided into two substrata: the educated mind, and that is you. But I also call that the conscious mind. The conscious mind is what thinks. What When we think, we're using the conscious mind. The doer, however, which is the innate mind, that is where the power stays. But that is also what we call as the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind doesn't have the power to reject. It doesn't have the power to oppose. It doesn't have the power to resist. It only has the power to accept. So it's very deductive. It only accepts whatever it is you put into the subconscious mind, it will make it come to pass. And it uses our body to generate results. As you can see in the next slide that we have here, um, that is what it is. Our five senses is our some kind of a electronic switching station. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, it's all in the conscious mind. Now it's up to you to welcome that and impress that in the subconscious mind. All those information are energies. When you put feelings into it, the moment that is emotionalized, or some say it's internalized, it goes straight into the subconscious mind and the body reacts with it and it brings the results. Okay? So this is how it looks like. Thoughts and with feelings, it goes into the subconscious mind. The body will put itself into action to bring the results. Without the body, there will be continuous uh, subconscious accumulation of those information. It needs the body to manifest, and it constantly wants to manifest in the body the results of what it wants. Someone says, if you cannot measure it, then it doesn't exist. So the way to measure it is the amount of achievement that is manifested through our body. Okay, so they're asking, so now, so do I just sit here and do nothing because I feel for it? I feel the thoughts that I have, I had feelings for it, I imagine it. So it should go to my subconscious mind. So I don't have to do anything. It is kind of like, yeah, you don't have to do anything, but you can't really help not doing anything because the feeling, which is the energy, will move your body, will attract opportunities, will have all those tasks aligned so that you can do it, or you can go to those places or meet these people or have those opportunities open so that you will achieve the purpose for which that subconscious mind wants it. So therefore, that's how it works. Now we're going to talk more about that after the break, okay? This is Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich, and we are live at stream.lawin.net. We'll be right back.
Tune into Legal Treats with attorney Eileen Ligote Dizon.
Every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Get your weekly dose of legal knowledge, especially on family matters like divorce, child custody, child support, estate planning, probate, and immigration.
Engage in discussions by posting your questions, comments, greetings, or shoutouts.
See you every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. That would be Saturday at 9 a.m. Philippines. Don't miss out.
All right, we're back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich, and we are live today at stream.lawin.net, also in Twitch, also in Facebook and YouTube, and I have my personal YouTube channel live as well. So we're now in our segment number two, and we're talking about now we have this, the one that you're seeing on the screen, thought with feelings on it, goes to the body, it mobilizes the body to act, and when it acts, the results are very sure. And here's the thing, the results are lasting, they stay with you because they're coming from the subconscious mind. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have results every day anyway. What you have right now is the result of the subconscious mind. There's nothing else coming from anywhere. It's always coming from the subconscious mind. Well, what that result is determines what's in the subconscious mind. The only way to change the result is to change what you feed your subconscious mind. That's really how it works. Now, when we look at that in our next slide, it is like this. You choose it. It is your intellectual mind. You have the ability to choose whatever it is that you want to entertain, listen to, or learn from. And then your emotional mind, which is your subconscious mind, it causes that feelings, it evokes that, and it causes your body for action so that it will resolve. So that's what it was. Now contrast that with what we were when we were young, when we were an infant. Now this is really very important. When we were an infant, it's not like that. Whatever it hears, whatever people say, whatever the TV, the news, it goes right into the subconscious mind. There is no barrier. The infant doesn't think. Okay? It just goes around, goes into the paradigm, which is the subconscious mind, and forms that. That is about 7 years, the first 7 years. And we really don't want, that is what you have. And when you grow up from that, that's what you have. That is now your paradigm. Paradigm is really just a collection of habits that you've accumulated over those years. And then you start thinking, now you start having that barrier, right? You don't just let whatever it is that's given to you by the TV, social media, newspapers, other people, radio, whatever else that information come from. You don't just get that in. You're going to think, are you going to accept that or not? And whatever it is that you accept, it goes in. Whatever it is that you don't accept, it goes away. Now, of course, there's a catch to that because sometimes when you are not conscious, okay, when you are not conscious, it slips in. So, really, what it is you are going to guard the what's going on into the subconscious mind by really being conscious of what is going on around you, what kind of thoughts you have or entertain, and the ones that you focus on. Because the ones you focus on, remember, these are all energy, and the ones you focus on, you animate it, and it brings the results you needed. So it's pretty much like this thing here. That is an easier illustration of for you. Thought is energy, and your thoughts become the idea. The idea causes emotion. The emotion alters your vibration and expresses that vibration in action that creates new conditions, new circumstances, and environment that brings result. So that's the result that you are. Now, your action is the one that will attract the results. Okay, the goal is not to get. Okay, so you have a lot of goals, but the goal is not to get. The goal is to grow. Because when you grow into the stature that that is in the level or in the same vibration of the things you want, the things you want will come to you. It's a law of action and reaction. When you act on it, when you become, it's in the becoming. When you become, boom, you get what is needed in that level. So all you need to really do is to move into certain vibrations. That's why we talked about it last time. Now you're thinking change sounds great. There are changes that will happen in our life, and we know that that happens. And because we know that that's what's going on, what we do is we don't want to stay that way. And if we have, let's say, negative people or negative situations, we want to be able to still think in the direction that we want to think. Now you're thinking change sounds great, but sticking with it is very hard. Why is it very hard to stick on the same thing? It is because our brain loves routine. Even if a habit isn't serving us, if it's familiar, it feels safe to do it, we keep doing it. For example, we talked about sugar before. Sugar is very sweet, right? And so we like sugar, and we're not even thinking anything that's sweet, it just goes in there, right? And we also talk about how much sugar do we really need, and it's only 25 grams. That's about 6 teaspoons. That's really a lot. And but 6 teaspoons is nothing in a day, in a regular day we have now. By eating a fresh donut, that's equivalent to already about 7 teaspoons. Now if you take one can of soda, that's 117 grams of so it's already, you already maxed the whole thing. It's not even the middle of the day. So really we're consuming enormous amounts of sugar, but we're not aware of that because it's habit, right? It's just habit forming. So instead of forcing massive change overnight, what I want for us to do is that you focus on one small manageable shift. Maybe it's swapping negative self-talk for a daily affirmation. Instead of saying negative things, think about daily affirmation. Say it instead. Or replacing mindless scrolling of your social media with, let's say, 5 minutes of meditation. 5 minutes is sounds very short, but it's really very long if you are not used to meditation. Like, or simply drinking more water, or maybe just looking at the ingredients of the food item that you have, and if it says added sugar, this is how much it has added sugar. Just by removing that item from our daily meal, it is already a big thing. Okay, remember, small steps lead to big change. That's what I want us to understand. Now let's go back to this slide right here. Now, if you look at the slide, there is an action and reaction, right? Your action causes a reaction which alters your results. So the results will change because you have changed. The vibration is higher. The results are expected to be higher because the kind of results that you expect are higher now. The lower results will not be there. Now, you said, why do I keep having these results? I want to change and I still keep having these results. That can tell you that what you are having is attracting the same thing. So you haven't changed, right? So you want to continue to raise that vibration because it's not the result. The result is the manifestation of what's going in the inside. If the vibration stays the same, you can guarantee the results are the same. Okay. Now, if you see that the results are the same, it's not changing from the outside, but it's changing from the inside. So you go back in and look what kind of vibrations do you have that you need to improve so that the results will improve or will change. It will change if you improve your vibration. Always go from the outside. If you keep blaming from the outside, it's not going to work for us. Okay. Now, here's the thing, conditions are what we want to see, circumstances, environment, results, those are what it is. I told you that the goals are not for getting, it is for growing. So you grow. When you grow into the level, let's say you want $1 million. I always use this as our example, right? If you want $1 million, you want to behave like you have it now, not tomorrow, not the next day, now. You want to behave. What does it feel to have this? And your mind is set in you have this. Because when you are it, you get it. Okay? Then the $1 million is yours because you're living like you are $1 million, right? Also, set an example about, well, the rich will distribute their millions to the poor. Okay, every single poor people will get $1 million, let's say, from Bill Gates. $1 million for every poor people. um, it will not take very long for that $1 million that is in the hands of the poor people to get back to the millionaire where it belongs, because the poor people don't think like millionaires. The millionaires think like millionaires, that's why they have millions. The poor people think like poor, and poor don't deserve 1 million, right? If you deserve 1 million, you have to think like you do, and you have to think, feel, and act like you do. You attract it. Okay, you don't become a millionaire by thinking poor. You don't become positive by thinking negative. You don't become successful by thinking failure. So it all is like that. You are going to grow into that stature that you want to achieve. And then we talk about this, okay? So when we talk about this, we talk about the levels of awareness. This awareness is the frequency we're in. That's the level of awareness, and where we are at that level. All we need is to increase, climb up to the frequency. The lowest frequency is animal frequency, which is fight or flight, or flight or fight, which basically means react versus responding. We're not responding, we're reacting. So either we fight or we avoid, we run away. Okay, that's an animal instinct, and we do have that as well. Now, uh, when we go up higher to another level of frequency, it is the mass frequency, which is the mass mentality. You're following the crowd, you're conforming. Example, everyone, you see everyone wearing the same kind of jeans because it's what's in, and everybody is wearing the same kind of jeans. Mass, right? Excuse me. And then you go up to higher frequency, and that is aspiration, desire without action. And then you move up higher, and the last one is then you now are not reacting, but you are responding. And we will talk about that because it's very important for me that we all understand that, and we are going to share some of those really important points here. Why are we talking about 7 levels of awareness while we're forming our habits? And we're going to talk about that after the break. We'll be right back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich, and we are live here at stream.lawin.net. Take it away, DJ. Oh, I think our DJ is a little busy. So we'll continue. Yes, so we're talking about these levels of awareness, and these levels of awareness is what we're doing. We're trying to understand if we go higher, the higher you go in your level of frequency, the better it is. Let's say, for example, level number five, discipline. Discipline is simply giving yourself a command and keeping it. Okay, you don't give others the command, you give it to yourself and then you follow, go ahead. That's discipline. When you're disciplined enough, like I said 4 times deep breathing when you wake up, that's it. You do it in a disciplined manner. That's how it is, giving yourself a discipline. You're higher there, and then you experience, you're really what do you call this thing, um, you're really learning there. Your experience, every experience that you have, you're learning, and then you respond is the mastery. Few people have achieved that kind of level, but when you achieve that level, it feels different because you're changing. So we want us to be able to understand this part of the topic that we're talking about as far as our conversation is concerned. We are talking about anchoring into our highest frequency. Which frequency are we? So we are going to make sure that we do that. Okay, we'll take a break first before we will really continue and take a bite on this topic right now. We'll be right.
Bold conversations, big ideas. Your next step starts here. Tune in to season 5 of Be Bold, Why Not with MJ Conception. Live every Monday 8 p.m. CST and 10 a.m. PH time. Don't miss out.
And we are back. So we said that the highest, so the mastery level is responding. You want to be able to respond. Okay, when you know you're reacting, you went down in the lowest level of frequency. You're reacting. So you know when you're reacting versus when you're responding. When you're responding, boom, you shift up above. Now let's take a look at that. We are saying that uh, that kind of discussion. We're saying that we want to anchor ourselves into the highest frequency possible to us. So let's take it back to alignment. Where do you align? If you want to consistently operate at a high frequency, you need anchors, practices that bring you back when life gets chaotic, and it will get chaotic. So here are a few simple but powerful ones that you can do. Number one, I'd like for you to remember daily grounding practice. Okay? Start your day with gratitude, deep breaths, as I've said to you before, or even movements. You want to move. So you make that a habit to start doing it that way. I have this vibration machine at home. It's an exercise machine called vibration, but it really shakes your body, and you do that for like 10 to 15 minutes, and your body is like back into good circulation. And I try to make that as a habit every day before I do other exercises. Like I ran marathon, and so I train. But really, if I step into the vibration machine, it builds my circulation back and gives me a lot of energy. So I try to do it as much as I can, especially when I'm home. It's when I'm not home that I'm struggling, because wherever I am, I may not have that opportunity. But the point is, start your day. I also like to start my day with gratitude. And what I do is I list down 10 things that I am grateful for the day. I will list them down. Sometimes I repeat some of those because I'm still grateful for them. So but I list down 10. I don't list more. If I could list more, that would be a bonus, but I don't force myself to list more. I just put 10 and I'm good to go. Now, if you can list more, that would be good. In fact, I advise people to start with three, list down three. Why listing it? It is because when you list it, you're using a pen, and when you're using it, it gives new neural pathways in the brain, and you tend to remember it. So do that. And the other one is do an energy reset. Now, what is this? If you feel drained, you work, you're exhausted, step outside, you stretch for a little bit, or listen to uplifting music, a few minutes, and then your energy comes back. You reset. Like at work, for example, you're doing deep work at work. So that's, let's say, 8 hours, and you go back, you're still thinking about work. So the brain cells that are being used at work will still be the same brain cells that will be used when you're at home, because you're still thinking about the same thing. So you want to shift into doing different things that requires different way of thinking, so that the ones that are not used, because we only use max of 5 to 10% of our brain cells in our entire lifetime. We don't use the other ones. There are ones that are not used because we motivate, what do you call this thing? Animate the brain cells that have always been used. So give it a break, use the other ones. So shift to something different you do. For example, I'm running, so I'm using my running constantly, right? And after that, you have to shift. Now I'm biking or I'm swimming. It will be a difference, so that the body's reflexes, your muscles, will tend to rest, but the others are being used. It's the same thing with our brains. The brain cells use different. Let's say you're thinking deeply and you're using an analysis. Do something fun at home where you don't have to analyze things like that. That is energy reset. And the other one I'd like to make mention is the mindful consumption of whatever it is. Filter what you take in, whether it's social media, conversations, or food. So be mindful of that. You know where I'm going with this, right? I'm going with this slide. Being mindful of what goes into your intellectual mind, what you read, what you watch, what you talk about, what you listen to, will determine the kind of results you have. Okay, because your thoughts, uh, the thoughts, the more you are focused on that kind of thought, the more you are entertaining that thought, that focus will cause feelings, and that feeling will make that thought sink into the subconscious mind, and your body will react with it. Okay, when it's reacting, it's in basic instinct. But if it's responding, you have mastered it. Okay. So when you're responding, it feels different because the results are different and you can really measure. So what I'm saying here is, if you are going to measure, how do you measure your success? And the simplest way to measure success is how much money you have. Look at your wallet, look at your bank account, how much money you have. That's how much success you have. Okay, that's the simplest way to do that. There are other ways, but if you cannot measure your success by the simplest way, then it will be difficult for you to measure your success in more complex ways. You might as well determine it from the simplest way, which is how much money do you have? If you don't have enough money and you think, then maybe it's time for us to think about, now, what do you do? How do you think, so that you can measure it in terms of that it has increased? Okay, it always goes like that. And I ask people a lot when I interact with them for the first time, we are in a coaching situation or session. I tell them how much money you have, and not that I'm going to ask, because I'm going to ask some of them to give me. That's not the point. The point is, I will know where their mindset is. And when I do that, I know that when their mindset is doing, I am able to understand where they are, and I coach them from that point of view. So it's very important for us to understand the basic or the simplest way to, what do you call this, to measure your success is to determine how much money you have. So we're talking about the seven levels of awareness. We're also talking about the the conscious mind and the subconscious mind in relation to what we are talking about today, which is the small things, the power of consistency. It is doing things in a certain way. And I advise that you start with small steps. If you're in big steps and you're doing it consistently and regularly, not good for you. Now, for you who haven't started yet, do start in small steps. Let's say, no, I want to earn $50,000 in my savings account for this year. And so, how do you start doing that? Start doing that now. What I want to say is break it down into small parts. So half a year, that's 25. So in 3 months, that's about what? Uh, 12, 12.5, and like 12,500. And then you break it some more until you get to an hour, perhaps some less will say a minute, so that you will know, oh, this is how much money you need to earn, and then go in there. Don't wait for it to be $30 before you save it. If it's $1, then save it until you get there, because you have to have those small steps mastered first, and then it impacts. It is called the compounding effect, if you would. The compounding effect is a very powerful principle to have, because what it does is the small steps that you have accumulated over the years, all of a sudden it has a boom effect. All of a sudden it goes up very, very quickly, like a bamboo, right? When you're planting a bamboo, first year, nothing. Second year, nothing. 7 years, boom, there's just bamboo. Where does this come from? You're surprised because it gathers that energy, and then it accumulates it in a compounding effect. That's why in investing, compounding effect is a very important philosophy to have. Now, there is what we call as the ability for us to get sidetracked. There are things that happen in life, and I'd like for you to understand that I, all of those are accumulated, and they happen, but they are only going to happen to move us forward. Nothing will move us backwards. It is always going to move us forward. Now, if you allow that to move you backwards, it will, because it works both ways. So, what is your energy like? Where are you moving? It's important for you to move in the direction you want, because you are moving anyway. Okay, so now let's review. Segment number one, we talk about energy on a daily basis. We talk about how energy is contagious and how easily external influences like negative people, social media, stress, they can pull us out of alignment. But the flip side of that is, just as we can be thrown off track, we can train ourselves to stay in high frequency through daily habits. So we want to really form daily habits. Now think of this daily habits as like you are fine tuning an instrument, let's say a guitar. So you want to be able to tune the guitar so that it is in harmony. A fine-tuned guitar is always in harmony. You leave it there, then it be out of its harmony. It goes out of your energy. If you don't measure it, if you don't keep at it, then it will deteriorate, right? So you want to really keep moving, okay? That's how you do it. For example, you start your morning, whatever it is that you want to start, but do it consistently. Okay, let's say every time I'm going to share, because every time I wake up in the morning, I'm making a habit to, first thing I do, of course, you deep breathing, and then and sit up and out of the bed. When I'm out of the bed, I am going to make my bed, arrange my bed, make my bed every single day, whether I feel it or not, because I want to develop that habit. Okay, so do the same. Identify what it is that you want to form and do it every single time. Of course, the in the second segment, we also talk about overcoming resistance to change. There are resistance. Okay, so especially it's yourself, and you didn't know that the habit that you want is the habit that you are changing, and it creates a cognitive dissonance because two things are in contrast to each other, the one that you're used to and the new one that you're introducing that you want to do. So sometimes your mind, which is the subconscious mind for that matter, is the one that still gets the results, the same results. That's not the result you want. So what you do is impress your subconscious mind from your conscious mind by the things that you do. So that is why every time the same result happens, you want to change your mind. You want to make it understand that's not what I want. I want this, and I want this, and I want this. You keep doing that until it gives in. Your subconscious mind will give in because it can't take it anymore because of the enormous amount of energy you put to impress it with all the feelings you impress into your subconscious mind, who gives you that constant the same result that you want to change. The moment it is accepted in your subconscious mind, that is the time that the results will come, and that is like you finally made a habit. Okay, so it's because it feels safe, it always keeps giving you the same result, but if it eventually has changed, then the result has also changed. Okay, so that's what we do when we are overcoming resistance to the change that we want. Remember, it's small step. Okay, if you improve yourself 1% every day in 1 year, that is 365% of improvement. I can guarantee you, just 1% improvement every day, you will no longer recognize yourself in a year's time. So it is very important to take note of that. But that is overcoming resistance to change, and that is our segment number two. Okay. Now, just remember, you can send us messages, you can send comments to our podcast, and you can even share some questions that you have, and we will address them as well. We are live here in stream.lawin.net. We're also live in Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And I have my personal YouTube channel here doing live as well of this broadcast, and that is the Rich Mindset of a Levite. We are also going to have our replay in our podcast platforms in Google and in Spotify and in Apple. So make sure you go that and replay it again and see what you can learn from our podcast. In our segment number three, we're reviewing here. In our segment number three, we talk about anchoring into our highest frequency. That's what we want, right? The highest frequency we can ever be able to go up. Because the higher we go, the higher the frequency we go, the better we become. And it's all about what kind of vibration we are vibrating into, right? The positive vibration. So we talk about how can we align to that, and we talk about the 7 levels of awareness. Those are basic levels of awareness, the lowest of which is your reactive level, and the highest is your responsive level. Now, there is a pyramid for success, and the pyramid for success is like that. And the highest part or point of the pyramid for success is responsibility. It means you want to take full responsibility of your result. No blaming, no nothing, no regretting. The result is you are fully responsible for it. Now you want to really reach that point where you can accept I am responsible. The things that happens to you, the things that results in what you did, you are the only ones responsible, and accept it. That is the first, the pinnacle, the first point in our pyramid of success. The other two is answering the question, what am I responsible for? Right? First one, I am responsible for my goals. Okay? You're going to set your goals, and your goals needs to be very clear. The clearer you are with your goals, the better your results could be. So first, you are going to be responsible. You're going to say, I am responsible. I am responsible for my goals. You set your goals. Because if you don't set your goals, somebody else will set a goal for you. And whether you like it or not, you're going to follow it. So you are going to set your own goals because it's your goal. You determine what that goal is, and you are going to work towards realizing that. So the third point of the pyramid of success is your results. Okay? So you are responsible for your goal and your results. Whatever the results are, you want to determine what those are. In setting up your goals, you need to know what your goals will bring you to. Let's say, I'll just wake up early every morning at 5 o'clock. That's it. And you don't know, okay, so well, what does it bring you? No matter if you do that every single day, if you don't know what results you're looking at, maybe the results are already there, you still didn't know because you didn't determine it. So determine what kind of results you'll get there. Okay. So the champions, they already know, let's say, track and field, they know it's gold, right? Not everyone will get a gold, but everyone goes for the goal. And so you already know what your goal is, what the result is of that goal. My goal is to be able to run a marathon, but at what time, right? So that's the result. My goal, can I run? Yes, I will run, and that's how I'm going to train myself. The result is 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. I'll finish it in that hour. So you finish it, and then you reach that goal. Every single one of us meets or achieves our goal. We meet or achieve our goal. Every single one of our goals. Whether we intend to have it or don't, because we're realizing every single time, every single result of what you have right now is a goal reached. So if you are going to achieve all your goals anyway, why not being intentional about what kind of goals do you want to achieve? Because they are going to be achieved. For example, you seen the moon? We went to the moon, right? The human kind went to the moon and back. That was a goal. No one has been to the moon before. That's how to set the goal. A goal is not something that you already know how to do. If you know how to do it, that's not a goal. It's a to do list. You might as well just go ahead and do it because you already know how to do it. You already know what it is. A goal is something you want to achieve and you know you will achieve, but you don't know how. Okay? You don't know how, you have never done that before, but you know you will get it. That's a goal. Okay? A goal is more than a to do list. A goal is something, let's say you bought a car and your car is a Honda, what? A Honda Pilot. And you want to buy a new Honda Pilot. You just go ahead and buy it. You already bought that before. You know what to do, right? That's not a goal. Okay? A goal is something bigger than you. A goal is something that you know you will achieve, but you don't know, even that you don't know how. Okay? So it has to be big. It has to be so humongous and enormous that builds confidence in you that no matter what it takes, you'll get it. Okay? The first person who climbed Mount Everest, that's the goal, right? No one has climbed before, and he went there for the first time. There's so many things that happens along the way. But he got it. That's what it is. Going to the moon, no one has been to the moon before, but then everything that they did everything they could, they got the moon and back achieved. Okay? And let's say the chair is a goal, right? There was no chair before. Well, probably they don't know what a chair is, they don't have a name for it, they were just sitting on rocks or whatever. And then they decided there is a log, and then they cut something in the log, and then they call it a bench. And then somebody said, well, and then that's how there was no chair before, and then they had a chair. Okay, there's something to sit. So that is what you call as the creative imagination. There was nothing, and then you imagined something. The other one is synthetic imagination. There was one thing that's already done, but no one has done it this way before, and you'll be the first one to do that. For example, they have a bench, as I talked about, and that bench you saw, but you can do better. And you created let's say, a sofa, right? So from a bench to the sofa, there was no sofa, whatever, there was no name for it, nor a picture of it or how it's done. You were the first one who did it, and then you call it a sofa. But there was a bench before that. So what you're doing is you are doing a synthetic imagination to create the sofa. That's a goal, right? That's what you're going to do it. You don't know how because no one has done that before, and you did it. Okay? Every single day we're achieving our goals, whether we're aware of it or not. Every single result we have is a result of what's going on in our subconscious mind. And it's important for us to understand when you anchor into the highest frequency, you achieve things at that level of your frequency. Okay? Now we're going to close, but we are in our Beyond Health and Wellness. Remember, this is our season 2 and this is episode 5 for our podcast. We are live here at stream.loudon.net, also in YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And we are also live in a YouTube channel, The Rich Mindset of a Levite. We are talking about here in our episode 5 about anchoring our highest frequency. Actually, we're really talking about the power of consistently doing small steps for a big impact. And as a review, we are going to close. We will wrap up into a small challenge that I'm going to give you for this week. What I want you to do is commit to one small habit that keeps you in alignment to your goal. Whatever your goal is, identify that and be very clear of that and focus on that. If you have so many goals, so many different kinds of things going on, you probably will not get one. You want to just focus on one. Your mind only processes one thing, task, or situation at a time. So you want to commit one small habit that keeps you in alignment with that one goal. And then you ask me, so what about still need to do it anyway? Well, whatever you need to do the whole day, there's so many things that you can do the whole day. But your mind is focused on that one small specific thing that you want to achieve, and I guarantee you will achieve that, and you will achieve one thing after another by that focus. So here's the thing, I'll repeat: commit to one small habit that keeps you in alignment, write it down, stick with it, and check in with yourself daily for the entire week. Now, if this episode has resonated with you, let's keep the conversation going. Share your thoughts, tag me, tag our broadcast here, our podcast, and let me know what habit you're committing to if you'd like to share. And until next time, I'd like for you to protect your energy, to stay aligned, be positive, and remember, small steps lead to big transformation. We'll see you again next time. This is our podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness, empowering conversations with Dr. Rich. And we are live here in stream.loudon.net, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. We'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, everyone.